I
This
joined from
conference
mobile,
will
right?
now be recorded.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll ask others to join, sir.
So you want me to wait for 1 or 2 minutes?
Yeah, Max, we'll wait 2 minutes, sir.
Yeah, good
Let him
morning.
go.
This is Shubhajit. I have joined.
Yeah, very good morning, Sujit. Yeah,
Or I'll
another.
start anyway. Anyway, I'll not go to the system first, so people can join. Yeah.
Okay, sure, sir.
So, hello everyone. So you all can see my screen.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, so this is the okay. So actually, we started to talk about Product Master last week. We just spoke about just only one tab, that is shelf life filing. Yeah. So we have a lot of other tabs which are relevant for PPDS. So before I go to the product master screen, so let's talk about what are the important fields that will impact planning in S4, and then we'll also go to the system and see all those fields, and then uh, we'll go to the PDS. We have already seen the PDS, but then we just validated. But today we'll go to the fields related to planning, and then we'll also create an alert profile today. So this is what I'm targeting for today. So it could take more than 2 hours also. So just be prepared, so that tomorrow we can start configuration. Yeah. Okay. So when it comes to product master, some of the fields like I told you that the product master is not editable in S4, wherein in APO we can create new materials. But now for everything like exactly like work center, even product master also is dependent on material master. Any changes that you have to do it in um, ECC, or which is part of S4 in metal master. So hence we have some challenges. If you think about a material getting extended to a customer location, or a material which gets extended to a subcontracting location or a vendor location, so that is not possible in S4. Yeah, I think you all would have read the S4 HANA blog. So these are the limitations that we have. See, in the other limitations that we have in um, S4 is creating of additional fields. There's a extra tab in APO Product Master. Even in S4 Product Master, you have an extra tab, but if S4 if you're using S4, you'll have to customize and add a field in the extra step. But whereas in APO, it's kind of a configuration. Okay, you can configure a maximum of 5 fields in Product Master. Yeah, it's called free attributes. You can just use it. Normally I use those for colors. Yeah, so in our session, colors session, so I cannot show that in S4 because that is not supported at all. How everybody does in real time, the only possibility is that you'll have to enhance something. Yeah, with whatever is available, you cannot come up with product colors at all with the existing uh, you know functionality in S4. You cannot actually define colors to the products. So that part I'll show in uh, APO. And I told you that we cannot extend a material to a vendor. Correct? You all agree. In ECC, if you go and create MM01, it asks for a plan, but you cannot actually create a material for a vendor. Okay. So hence, subcontracting also, we have to do it in APO. But let's see how we go. And the good news is that I managed to set up block planning in S4. I think since 2011 I'm teaching, but right from 2011, if you have seen my old videos or my demos, I've always been telling that we're using PPM because IDES do not support block planning. Yeah, or even a general standard license of S4 or even APO does not support block planning because there are certain fields. And I say if you go to product master, you must have a field called block planning or CDP class. Yeah, and the integration, when um, the production version is shift to APO, you must have that. If you go to routing or if you go to PDS in APO, you must have that characteristic value assignment. That is the character CDP characteristic and also the class block planning class in PD. So these things are not even today. I'm telling the same. If you go to a standard APO IDA system or a standard APO system, block planning will not work. Hence, we use PPM. So now we have PDS. So with my own interest, and I also involved the basis guys, and we have somehow managed to get that field activated. So I'll just show you before I get back to Excel, which is actually a good news. I've not simulated end to end, but at least I could see. I'm in S4 HANA system. So if we go to the product master of any, I'll take the one that I'm exploring. Yeah, you go to classification tab. You have already a CDP class description. Yeah, this is something that you don't. This is the first step towards block planning. Yeah. So because this was not available in APO, we had to actually link the class and characteristic in the PPM directly. So when you link it to PPM, what happens? You can link it to your resources and you link it to the product also because PDS has both. So now we don't have to do anything. All we need to do is we need to um, create a CDP class in the resource master, and our PDS anyway has it because block is connected to. Um, so I'm building a case, a case in which you have uh, 7 different products with 7 different characteristics. Five, I think 6 or 7 I've created just to make it look big. In the sense we understand, we see the output. If you do it with 1 or 2 products, you don't get anything. And my also, I have another idea that when we set up our setup matrix, um, we'll have similarly a very big setup. I think 6, 7 products getting produced on one machine. Yeah, we sequence it. So here we are talking about sequencing in block planning and also without block planning. So without block planning, sequencing will happen anytime. Yeah, wherever the demand is in any period where sequencing happens. But then we bring the complexity of block planning. Yeah, where we define the periods where these products are produced. Say for example, in week 2, out of 7 products, I produce only 4. Or in week 5, I produce only 1 product. In week 6, I produce all of them. So the periods where all the products are produced, I need to sequence it. All the different 6 products are produced in the same period, but which one should be produced first? Block is based on a period. Block says, okay, on from 15th of February to 25th of February, you are producing these many products. It will club all the requirements and all the orders falls in that particular block. But within that, you need to schedule. Yeah. So if you tell system to schedule, there is a heuristic which schedules. It schedules randomly. Now you need to understand based on what it's scheduled. But you want the system to schedule the way you want. So hence we can introduce setup matrix also there. Yeah, let's see. I've never clubbed these two, but this time I'm planning for that also. so that we learn both setup matrix independently without block, and also we'll call that setup matrix and see what happens. Yeah, because we would have anyway had a group and the times created, right? So it's not a big work to simulate this. There could be another 15-20 minutes extra, but at least we can see the output. Yeah, so let me get back to Excel, and then we'll understand what are the important parameters, and then we'll come back to product master. Okay, see, in product master, some of the important fields that we need to really think about is um, strategy, yes, but we'll not discuss about strategy. Why? Because we've already discussed. I've already told you 40 comes here as 20, and the strategy 10 comes as 10. Make to order strategy 20 comes here as 21. And I also told you that planning with final assembly, planning without final assembly, planning for configuration objects, planning material, all this has standard strategy mapped. So you don't have to configure anything. The moment you set up in Metal Master, there is a field mapping. Yeah, but what is important here? Though it's actually not for PPDS, yeah, it's actually, but it's for S4 as a whole. We had consumption before, yeah, consumption parameters. This is forecast consumption I'm talking about. Yeah, so we had backward, um, forward, and then forward, backward. Yeah, all these things before. But what they've introduced in S4 is the period. So every time you define forecast parameters, you all know that forecast parameters are always defined in days. Okay, it's not in weeks or months. You cannot do it. It's always the standard. The value that you put in the Metal Master is in days only. Now, the sales order requirement date is when the consumption happens. So we either give forward, either we give backward, or backward forward. But if what they've introduced is period based consumption, it means only on the requirement date it consumes the forecast. The rest it doesn't touch. Yeah, personally it's not safe, because you always should have backward and forward in order to have the optimum inventory. Yeah, if you don't do that, then the current period, if you consume anything and your requirement is more than what you forecasted, so there'll be sales orders, there'll be forecast also. So you're literally producing more. So yeah, I've seen that it's an addition. Maybe in places where sales order is never more than forecast. Yeah. So in such situations, just to make sure that there is no forecast available at all, if you want to consume the entire values in a period, yes, you can use that. So that is a new addition. We'll see in the system all this. And the other things are very, very important. Pegging. Yeah, so pegging, I told you that there is fixed pegging, and we also have dynamic pegging. These are the major, whenever you talk about pegging in APO, you see everyone talks about these two. So, but within dynamic pegging, and within these two pegging, there is something called concurrent pegging. And also we have continuous input output. Yeah, so this is the reason why I'm here. So we have, say, for example, finished goods. We have semi-finished goods. Yeah, so I want finished goods in this bucket. Okay, and so what it does, it goes and see, um, it will consume from, so semi-finished goods finishes, and then um, finished goods will start. So there'll be a pegging relationship between finished goods and semi-finished goods. So this is pegging. And there could be a raw material which could be here. Yeah, so in I told you that in S4 you don't really have to worry about raw material. We do MRP planning, but for us, FG and SFG is very critical. And you may ask me where this gets pegged to. This may peg to a sales order or a forecast, some requirement or a dependent requirement, anything, a dependent demand. So any requirement will be there. Hence, you're producing this, right? Without any. So this will be pegged to any requirement, and semi-finished goods will be pegged to finished goods. So this is at a high level. This is what we call pegging. And now fixed pegging and dynamic pegging. Fixed pegging is, say for example, this is of 200, and this finished goods is only 100. Yeah, and then there's another order which is for 100. Okay, or 120, for example. Quantity I'm talking about. So in this case, what will happen is this 200 will pick to this and this. Then there'll be another order created here, yeah, for 20, so that uh, the finished goods requirement are fulfilled. Yeah, and pegging is always not only for quantity based. It's also dates also we do. Whenever you have fixed pegging relationship, um, that we see in the scheduling board. Okay, so if, say for example, I remove this, and let it be 100. So this, the difference between dynamic and fixed in terms of um, picking. Dynamic picking. Think that I took this finished goods order, I put it somewhere. Before that, let me put one semi-finished goods order. Think that there is a semi-finished goods order here also. Okay, for 100 or 120 or any quantity. Suddenly the planner decides, I want to move this here. Okay, immediately you will see this 100 getting pegged to this. So this will lose the pegging relationship with this one. Okay, and this will get pegged to this requirement. So here you saw two things. The way the dynamic pegging behaves, because it's dynamic, it can go and get linked to anything as long as it gets something to consume. Yeah, this is dynamic. At the same time, there are two types of, I would say, pegging strategy. Timely receipt, first in, first out. There are two things. So when you have timely, this is timely, right? At this particular time, which is the order that I can go and pick to? This is the order. This is timely receipts. And then there is something called first in, first out, or something like that. Yeah, we'll see that in the product master. 5 or something. So when you activate this one, this will actually, even though this is a dynamic picking, no matter where it is, it will go which one I'll consume first. Oh, okay. This is produced first. This is produced later. Correct. If this is 10th of February, this is 12th of February. This is 13th of February. Why do I go and take something which is just produced, and then this gets, this becomes old for someone else to consume? So go and consume the orders or products which are produced first. Whenever in food industry and all, you talk about this, right? So um, once again, let me just remove this. Yeah. So if you have timely receipts, the timely orders will be pegged. If it is first in, this finished goods will peg the um, semi-finished goods order, whichever was first. But then there are two more things. One is called maximum earliness, maximum lateness. How early your orders can be picked. Okay, think that. Okay, I have orders. So this is my horizon. All these are different orders, or I'll say this is 10, this is a quantity of 20, and this is quantity of 30, and this is 20, again 20. Okay, now there is a order. I will tell earliness is 1 day. Anything less than 1 day, you don't touch it, because this every time whenever a semi-finished goods is produced, I don't want to touch it for 1 day. It could be for various reasons. There could be some rework activities after production, which is not captured in as part of the order, um, which could be outside your order scheduling. Maybe some rework activities, maybe some bending activity, cleaning activity, whatever, washing, rework, deburring. There are many processes that they do once the order is finished. So I'll say earliness at least 1 day. Anything older than 1 day, you take it. So anything which is 1 day outside, this can will peg to this one also. 20, then I say not enough, it will peg to this also, because it's greater than 1 day, right? And then I define, if my earliness is 1 day, my lateness is 1, 2, 3, 4 days, say for example. This is late, right? This is okay. Produced it here 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm fine. 4 days I can consume, but I don't want to touch something which is outside 4 days, because I think this product may not be fresh, yeah, to consume. It's old. My output of FG may not be as expected, because this was something which was produced 5 days ago. I don't want to consume. You go to a hotel or you go to a shop and you always want to buy something which is fresh, right? So and then you also have a threshold. Yesterday's you'll take it, but 2 days old, no. Yeah. So the same thing is applicable here also. You can define maximum earliness, maximum lateness also. So in this case, in example, if I go, my availability would be 20, 40, 50, and 70. Okay. And then what it does, it will create an order 30 here to fulfill the shortage. I'm sorry here, because I told you anything which is less than, it doesn't. Yeah. So it'll, so that this 100 quantity, yeah, so this, the sum of all this is 100. So if you want to work on this, you'll have to define maximum earliness and maximum lateness. And I also told you in my previous session, shelf life planning also works like this, but there you have to give minimum required shelf life, maximum required shelf. So if you do shelf life planning, you should not actually do this one. But in most of the industries, I'm telling you, even in food industry, shelf life they don't use, because you have to run a shelf life. Other heuristics do not understand. So you'll have to, if it is only PPDS, I don't even recommend to use shelf life heuristic, because the standard heuristic, you get a lot of other flexibilities. But whereas if you use shelf life heuristic, it will look only at shelf life parameters. Okay. And the product has to be batch managed. All these constraints are there. Hence, if you ask about recommendation, maximum earliness and maximum lateness is what is recommended. You get more flexibility in order to pick orders. At the same time, um, if this is dynamic pegging, because here how many orders are getting picked. If you have an order like this, okay, and this is, say, I'll give a different color for fixed pegging, say a green color. Okay, if this is, see, pegging happens, you, there is a heuristic. Okay, create fixed pegging relationship, delete fixed pegging relationship. Okay, when this is before like this, standard in S4 PPDS, it's a dynamic pegging standard. When you do planning, it gives you dynamic pegged orders, but later you can make it a fixed pegging like this. You can call that heuristic called create fixed pegging, and immediately this will get pegged as a fixed relationship. We'll see all this. Okay, how to identify is a dynamic. So it's all there in the product view. There's product view. There's something called pegging overview. Okay, and there is also a transaction for that. Go and see. We'll see all those in the interactive planning session. But you should have a good understanding so that it makes a lot easier for me when I show you, you understand immediately. Okay, so if this is the case, think that the planner decides to move this here. Okay, it doesn't actually go and move only that. When the planner decides to move this here, whichever is fixed peg, everything goes forward. If you move finished goods order forwards, the semi-finished goods also goes forward because both has a relationship built. This SG order just follows finished goods order. So in the DS board, if you go and see that I'm pushing my finished goods order, but all other orders are also moving, even though I'm not pushing. The planners will come and tell you this because maybe some background job where you've created a fixed paying relationship. This happens. And a situation where yeah, so let me think about a situation where you have a big order like this and a finished goods order here. How do you pick it? Right? You know that semi-finished goods production is going on and the quantity of this could be say 500. Yeah. So if you go and say bottom up scheduling, top down scheduling, what the system will say, you have to produce it here because my semi-finished goods production will finish here and then you can start your finished goods order. But you yeah, if you go and tell this to your customer, they'll say that my production has started. Here I'll finish 500 cases, but here 100 cases would be ready in 1 hour only. Why should I wait 3 hours to start my finished goods order? Yeah, so that is called, there are two names to it. One is concurrent pegging. Say, for example, there is an order like this, there is an order like yeah, so there is an order like this. In DS board, this in make to stock production, this is how your DS board will look like, right? There'll be one like this. Yeah, there'll be one like this. All are semi-finished goods. Yeah. Now you know that the earliest you can start it is here. Earliest. Why? Because there is one order which is finishing here as a semi-finished goods order. Yeah, you can start your finished goods here. Okay. Um, okay. So all these are semi-finished goods. This is finished goods. If what I just told is this the earliest you can start, but you want to start it here. So here there is something called concurrent pegging. Concurrent pegging is it will go and peg to all the orders where there is a overlap. Say for example here. No, let me just put it one more here. The order starts from here. So this quantity, the 100, it'll get some from this one and from some from this one. Yeah. And then this much. So until this L, yeah, whatever this bucket, once the production of the semi-finished goods is going on, system can tell you how much you can get. This is called continuous input output. Okay, input is for finished goods, Output is from semi-finished goods. So there is continuous input output heuristic. But for that, you need to also tell what is the minimum quantity. Minimum. It doesn't mean that the production has started for semi-finished goods. You have produced only 20. You cannot ask finished goods production to start. So you can define minimum quantity is 100. Okay. Only then the finished goods production can go and pick. Even though the production is going on, at least there should be 100 quantity produced in that order. Only then. This is at a material level. In the product master level, you can define. Okay. So that is input output. This is concurrent pegging. Concurrent pegging and continuous input output works like both same. In input, continuous input and output, you only tell what is the minimum quantity. Okay, to continuously consume the output of semi-finished goods. In current concurrent pegging, if you do, it's not mandatory that you have to use continuous input output. There is a heuristic called continuous input output heuristic, which I'll show. Okay, there it'll that heuristic to work, you need to set up all those. Yeah, but concurrent pegging has no dependency on continuous input output. Concurrent pegging will be, it will just show you what is that which is available to you. Yeah, it'll say in this order you get this much, in this order you will get this much, in this order also this much, and in this order you'll get only this much. So for it's called overlapping. Okay, so see pegging, we are talking about pegging only. So pegging is very big in PPDS. So in demand tab you'll see all this, and then there are a few things like tolerances. As some steel industries are used length based planning. They do length based planning where all the metals will be in some lengths, and at a length level you can define some tolerances. If it is 1 meter, you can say 5% tolerance is okay, both the sides. 5% tolerance you can give, and over delivery, under delivery tolerance, exactly same like metal master. That is only for when you do GR, when you do goods issue, the tolerance will come into picture. And then other thing is in chemical industries. I think you must have seen that whenever you open a container, okay, you cannot take whatever you want. They say if you open the container, take everything. Okay, total stocks. In the planning also, see that is physical stock. You're opening the container. You're not producing, right? Container is already there. So the moment you peg to that stock, consume everything. That is at a stock level. But the same thing could be at a planning stage also. Think that I'm producing something, and we call it MOQ, right? Even procurement guys will know. We always have order quantity. Exactly same. There'll be minimum order quantity in production also. When I produce something, I produce minimum of whatever. Yeah, 10 liters is minimum. So my minimum lot size is 100 liters. But my requirement is only 30 liters of finished goods. I need only 30 liters, but the production happens only 100 liters. So in that case, how chemical industry, they'll say they'll consume everything and they know how to, they'll create additional orders in finished goods and somehow they manage. But when it comes to pegging, so you have total stocks and total receipts. In that case, what we'll do, see a classic example we have finished goods of only 100 and there is a 500. So if we have this the the total 500 quantities will be used for 100. It will never say that paid quantity is only 100. Yeah, so in real time actually you have 500 and the 400 is available for others to actually pick. Whereas if you have that setting, this 100 will go and pick to entire quantity of 500. Okay, uh, that, so this is total stocks and total receipts. Coming to the same thing, we have lot sizes. Yeah, fixed lot size. We have a lot for lot. We have periodic lot sizes. So when I say periodic, it could be daily, hourly, daily. Um, sorry. Lot for lot, periodic lot sizes. So periodic lot sizes and lot. I said fixed lot size, right? Yeah, fixed lot. So when it is periodic, widely used all this. So planners will eat. They want lot size is so big that this if you have not set this up, that's why I have in interactive. I'll be showing you all this our daily, weekly, monthly, everything. We'll see. You have to be very thorough in this. Okay, so hourly, daily, weekly, monthly, and I also told you that there is a heuristic which works together. You can keep three different lot sizes at a time, and you can yeah, and then you have planning calendar lot size. What else you have? Planning calendar, and you have period factor. Yeah, um, and if you talk about and then see all this will go and look at min max rounding value. Yeah, so you can give a lot for lot. Yeah, lot for lot is for every demand there is one order created. On top of that, you can still define a min max also for lot for lot. Okay, and fixed lot will not have min max. Fixed lot is always fixed quantity. Say for example, my fixed lot is 1,000 cases. That's it. Yeah, but there's also setting called last lot. Yeah, so here, but last lot exact means if a fixed lot is 100 cases, there is a requirement of 430. So what it'll do, it'll create 4 lots, 100 each, and the last lot will be for 30. Or else you'll unnecessarily produce 500 because your fixed lot is 100, right? So you don't want that. Last lot is always the balance of all this, and that is always managed externally. But when it comes to planning, if you want a planned order only for 30, you have to use that last lot exact, and then yeah, so lot for lot, it's a widely used requirement quantity equals the production quantity, uh, and then on top of that, you can have a lot for lot. Say for example, I have a requirement of 100 and I have a requirement of 200 and 300. Yeah, lot for lot gives you 3 orders. Yeah, one order for 100, one order for 200, one order for 300. Think that your minimum lot size is 140 and the maximum lot size is 400. Okay, so there'll be one in here, though the requirement is 100, it will create one for 140 because that's the minimum. You cannot produce anything. Yeah, one for 140 minimum lot size. If you have only this order, we have two things. One is collective requirement, and then you have individual requirement. Okay, so collective requirement is it will club all the requirements. So what is the total requirement here? As standard, it sometimes in make to collective requirement. This is a thumb rule. Make to stock. We use collective because you're only producing for a forecast. You can produce, you can club all the requirements. Think that my semi-finished goods is pegged to almost 5 different finished goods. I take all the requirements and I'll have one production, massive, large quantity I'll produce so that I have multiple requirements. Yeah, and then individual requirement. Individual requirement is normally used for make to order. Why? Because it's a customer specific order. Every requirement needs to be produced separately. So you see that whenever you use make to order, it's you would have seen not in a brand new implementation. Brand new implementation you have to decide, but normally if you've gone to any production system in a support project only, you would see that its individual requirement is checked because it's a make to order. That's an indication. It's a best practice. Okay, so in collective requirement, in this case, so the total demand is 500, right? My minimum is 140. If I don't have this at all, one plant order is created for 140 because uh, um, that's the minimum lot size. Yeah, then if you have more than that, yeah, so one plant order is created for 500. One plant order is created for 500. Okay. But you have maximum lot size also. Maximum lot size is, I told you 100 is, if 120 is a minimum, let's write this minimum, maximum. Rounding value, rounding is just that whenever you create an order, it will round to that value. If it's the why rounding value is defined is, it could be based maybe your pallet size. I produce 100, my pallet size is 90. Right, so always whenever you produce, your order quantity will be always in the multiples of 90. Okay, so that it should not be that one pallet is full and the other pallet is only 10%. Right, so that's the reason rounding value is always given so that it's aligned with the pallet quantity. Okay, so I was telling you minimum is 120, maximum is say 400. Okay, so in this case what happens, I have a total requirement of 500. Yeah, I told you when I don't have this demand at all, it creates one order for 120. Okay, that I already do. So that's minimum. Maximum is 400. Now I have a requirement of 200 and 300. So what it'll do? It'll create one order for 400. It cannot create more than 400. And then it'll create one more order for 120. So what happened now? You're producing more. And this is where dynamic picking comes into picture. Why 120? Because it's a minimum lot size. Okay. So this is how it does. Your the dynamic picking is so useful because the balance of 20 will go and pick to something else. There could be another requirement of FG. Yeah, so there it will go and pick the rest of the quantities. Okay, when in say for example, in week 1, in a week you have day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, day 7. Okay, forecast would be 10, 20, 30. Okay, now lot says you understand now. Output is like it creates an order for 400, it creates an order for 120. Okay, when does it create? Yeah, because I'm talking about collective requirement, yeah, and I'm giving weekly lots. Okay, I'm coming to that. Daily lot says you have daily lot says will be daily requirement. Okay, every day it will create one order 10, 20, 30. Sorry, 10. So this is daily lot says. In daily
Sanjeev,
lot says you can
can I please interrupt here? So
definitely.
I have a small question here. So when you have placed the individual requirement in the just example you were discussing just before this, so minimum max. So
Mhm.
individual requirement, if I use the requirements of 100, 200 and 300, and if I use collective indicator, then the total requirement is 600. And then if mean and max are 400 and 120, then I see that there are two things created, one 400, one 120. So what happens to the remaining requirement of 80?
Remaining requirement of
80, because total 80, because individual requirements were shown as 300, 200 and 100, right?
300, 200, 100. Oh, yeah, 500 is a total requirement.
No,
Yeah,
600, right?
sorry, yeah, 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 that's right. my mistake. Yeah,
So
it's
in
600.
this
Yeah.
case, so what will be the orders created then with min max 120 and 400? What will be the scenario?
No. The actually, see, my when I was explaining, 500 was there in my mind. Yeah. So I'm sorry.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is 600.
yeah, yeah,
So in that case, it will be
yeah,
minimum is 120, right? So it will create
yeah.
200 because it
Okay, yeah,
cannot
yeah.
create anything less than
Correct,
120.
correct, correct, correct. Right, right. Yeah, agreed.
My
Yeah, no
additions was,
problem.
yeah.
No
Uh,
problem. Yeah,
so uh, so this is how it works.
yeah,
Thanks.
sure.
But
No problem. Yeah,
my intention was to give 500. Yeah,
yeah,
instead
yeah,
of
I got it.
my intention was this, so that you understand why it
Yeah, I got
creates 120. It's because of minimum lot size, and then additional 20 is due to our constraints here.
it. Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
so
Got it.
that was the
Yep.
intention. Okay, so this forecast you have, I'm just giving some number here. That's it. So you have hourly lot size would be to explain. Think that my hourly say 12 hours. Anything less than a day, if planners want, uh, it can be half day. So what do? You don't have uh, a day lot size is 1 day minimum. Yeah? So a requirement of the day is taken and planned. But you want separate requirement to be calculated for 12 hours. So you define a lot size, hourly lot size. Okay. In hourly lot size, you tell how many hours. Even in daily lot size, you can say my lot size is daily. How many days? 3 days. If you give 3 days as your lot size, you will get one order of 60. You get one order for 60 because your daily lot size, you're saying 3 days is my lot size. Okay. And if you are having a 7 days week, you can either use daily lot size of 7 days, or you can say weekly lot size of 1 week. Okay. And you see some places they also use daily buckets and weekly lot size. Okay. When you give weekly lot size, uh, if I copy this also, this is 100. So 200 is a total requirement. Okay. So this is week 1, week 2. Okay, my weekly lot size is say for example 1. So a planned order of 100 would be created here. Yeah, if it's a weekly lot size and my period is 1 week. If the weekly lot size, if my period is 2 weeks, it will create a planned order of 200. Okay, now the problem is my demand is somewhere, I would say around 13 days far. Why do I produce here? Yeah, so now we have a choice whether you want this 200 beginning of the bucket or middle of the bucket or end of the bucket. Yeah, you understood, right? How lot size works: hourly, daily, weekly, monthly, everything works same. Whenever you give a period, it will see for that period what are all the requirements, and it will give you one planned order. If you have not defined min max, if you have defined min max, it will follow that, whether one planned order or two or three or whatever, based on min max. But planners always say, I want everything to be at the end of the bucket. Yeah, then it will be something like this. Almost 10 planned orders would be created. Yeah, it will be something like this. And then I select this and I do backward scheduling. Yeah, which will be like this. Later, they'll schedule it in the DS board. Okay, cursor is playing. Yeah, so that when it plans at the end of the bucket, later they will do backward scheduling and see, okay, if 2 weeks of capacity, uh, when I do backward scheduling, when I have to start. Okay, so that is backward scheduling. Now, what is it you have to do in order to um, make this work? There is something called period factor. You're defining a factor for a given period. What is the period? Period is your weekly is your period. How many weeks and week? These two put together becomes a period. So there are, say, you can say 0, yeah, 0.00. You can say 0.5, and then you can say 1. Th- So it all lies within this 0 to 1. 0 would be beginning of the bucket, 1 would be end of the bucket, zero point 0.5 would be middle of the bucket. And some planners, I've seen them crazy. They go calculate at, say, for example, I tell them, if you want to really produce on a Thursday, use a planning calendar. They say no. Okay, they go and calculate. If 0 is Monday morning, if 1 is Sunday night, and I want production to happen on Friday, so they go and calculate. They've given 0.8567, something like that. Okay, so that it plans there. That also planners do. So all these things can be done using our period factor functionality. Okay, so min max, uh, lot. See, whatever I'm showing now, everything is linked to each other. Pegging. After that, quantities. After that, lot says concurrent in continuous input output. This is how planning works. Planning is not easy. When you click the button, you see planned orders. Behind that, there are so many things. Yeah. Standard lot heuristic or any planning heuristic that you take, it'll go and check all these parameters before it actually gives you or proposes the dates and the quantities. You have to be very thorough with all these parameters. Okay, so lot sizes, pegging, consumption, um, and when it does net requirement calculation. Net requirement calculation is nothing but how much I have and how much needs to be produced. So net is what you have to produce, right? So for that, you can also define, don't consider quality inspection stock, or consider quality inspection stock also. Don't consider block stock. There are many types of stocks, correct? So you can also define in the product master what are the different types of stocks that you have to consider, and then come up with some. It's a best practices to actually consider quality inspection stock. You have to, right? But you see some places they don't consider, yeah, because they're not 100% sure whether they'll get all the, once after quality check. Sometimes everything could be rejected. And long shelf life, they'll say don't consider quality inspection stock. When it gets released, then anyway it becomes unrestricted. So the next planning run will capture that. So hence don't consider quality. So what you'll do, so for that, at a product level, there are uh, very straightforward settings. And then you can define some for raw material, it all comes from metal master. You can define plan delivery time and all this external procurement indicators. And then you can define GR time in the product master. And in PPDS, you have something called procedures. Okay, so that procedures we'll talk about, because that's dependent on configuration. And you also saw what is planning time fence. Uh, I explained. I think it should be in one of this in sheet 2. It is already there. What is planning time fence, and all these things I'll show. We'll see how planning time fence works in the DS board. All this, whatever I've told you now, we'll be simulating everything in the system. But before we simulate, uh, you have to make sure that you've understood all this, or else you'll not understand when you see the output. Yeah, and there are two more functions which we actually don't use. Good to know only. And it's not for a PPDS planner to really worry about. You have PIRs, right? Forecasts, whatever, like 500 is a PIR for a given week, and then a sales order is for, say, 400 only. Yeah. So when sales order is for 400, it consumes the PIR, and there is 100. So you can define a period. You say, okay, 2 days If I don't get sales order at all, you define a horizon. It's called adjustment horizon. I start producing on Monday. I'll take all the orders until Thursday because I need 3 days to plan my resources, my people, raw material, everything. So if someone comes on Saturday or Sunday, any sales order comes, you don't want to. Yeah. So, but there is open demand as a forecast, open forecast, because there is no sales order. So you can within that adjustment horizon, that is 3 days, you can run a heuristic which will go and delete all the PIR in that. It'll see, okay, whatever is pending, it'll just go and delete. That's in the adjustment horizon. I think SAP PP014 or 014 or 0 something like that. I'll show you. That is that we actually planners don't care. Okay, planners will not do it. Uh, Planners is just they don't even know what is the open forecast. Nothing. Planners will only go and see what is there in the system. How many orders are there? Yeah, for next week. They'll just go and schedule those orders based on resource availability. They don't actually go and do all this. And there's another field which is called um, I'll show you what it does is before it was very helpful when we had sales orders, integration with APO, when mm, when you run a heuristic. I told you that you can delete this 100, right? There's another heuristic, I think 018, where it will give you a report saying that for these product location, this much of open PIRs are there. Okay, and SAP, if you go and read the help, uh, it says that with that quantity, you can go to the customer and say, we had forecasted this based on your sales history. Yeah, we are starting production next week, but you have not yet raised the sales order. Yeah, if you don't raise it, will not produce. You'll have to wait again. Okay, so if they say no, that's it, that's all I need, then you can use the other heuristic and delete all the open PIRs. Before that, you can always go and execute that list, and it just shows you at a product location level what is the open PIR. Okay, if you run that heuristic for a given location, you can. Okay, so these two fields will get back to the system. Yeah,
Sanjay, sorry, one question regarding the lot size.
yeah, sure.
Hello. Yeah.
Yeah, go
See,
ahead.
my question is lot sizes always transferred from ECC to APO,
Yeah, yeah.
or do we have any
Even,
additional lot sizes are available in APO?
no, I told you, right? You can't even edit.
Yeah, correct. So, which means
It all comes from ECC only.
okay, okay.
Yeah. See, even that is a challenge. Even I don't like because we all are so much used to APO. No matter what everyone does is in ECC simply they'll create lot for lot. Okay, but in
Correct.
APO they go and define what exactly they want. But now you cannot do it because of S4. You're always aligned with the uh, uh, Metal Master. So now if you want to do any changes, go to Metal Master and do, not in APO directly.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So the reason behind telling you all this is I get a very good continuity in the Excel to show you everything. If you go to Product Master, lot size is in one tab, pegging is in one tab. There's no link. Yeah, now you'll see. I'll show you what all we spoke. And it saves a lot of time, unnecessary, Okay, so let's go to the Product Master. F1, FG1, the product. See, change or display doesn't matter. So it doesn't allow you to change anything. See, I also told you that there are, see here, global data, location data. Okay, so if you give, if you indicate this, if you say global data, it gives you only those which has headers. See, yeah, these are all headers, properties, classification. Classification is at a global level, right? Not at a location level. So unit of measurement is a look. So if you go to PPDS specifically, it should be always at a location level. It's not even at a network level. It plans only at a factory where the production happens. That's where PPDS plans. Okay, so now if you go, you'll see a cap, and also you'll see views. See this demand. That's where I'll go first. Yeah, see all this yellow circle with a dot. These are all location dependent. Okay, so we spoke about admin. I said it's just an MRP controller. We spoke about properties. It has all the product parameters, nothing related, the shelf life parameters, was a gross weight, volume, and other thing which is a unit of measurement, which comes from whatever you maintain there, it comes here. Okay, and then uh, for classification will definitely come. Block planning and all will come, will maintain all these things. What for us is actually for PPDS, it all starts from here. You don't forget that this product master EWM also you see that storage related and all. It's not of a PPDS, huh? WM, extended warehouse management, also gets linked to this. It comes to the system. So um, some of the fields are not actually related to what is storage got to do with the PPDS? Tell me, nothing. Yeah, so it's all not just for PPDS. EWM also is, the system is used. Okay, so whatever we discussed, collective requirement, possible collective requirement, strategy which is by default come from Metal Master, consumption, backward forward, and I also spoke about a new functionality which has come up, and that is period based consumption. It is not there if you go and check in ACC system. Requirement profile, if you create, is a default values gets populated. It's just a profile. Yeah, you go to configuration and create a requirement profile. I'll say I want the consumption mode to be this, and all the values in a pegging you can default. You can create a the moment you assign that profile, every value gets defaulted by itself. Okay, pegging, we spoke about concurrent pegging, and I also told you what is the interval. Only for next 3 days the concurrent should work. I told you continuous input, minimum pass amount. I told you at least there should be 30 cases which should come out, only then the continuous should work. And I also spoke about pegging, fixed pegging or dynamic pegging. Here there is a global setting. So tomorrow configuration session I'll show you. At a global level configuration, we can set it as a fixed pegging, so that every product will be having a fixed pegging relationship. Fixed pegging will be active for all the products if you set it there. But out of all the products, so you may have 100 products or 200 products, only 5 or 10 you want it as a fixed pegged output. So you don't maintain in the global parameters. At the product level, you can comment only for those 5 products. You have to set it as one. Fixed pegging is active. Yeah. Out of all the products in the global parameters, you say it's fixed pegging for all the products. But one or two you don't want fixed pegging. You can exclude from fixed pegging. So because in planning, always material or product master takes precedence, and then the global parameters. Okay, so if there is anything like that, you can maintain here. You cannot maintain. I showed you. If you in the material master go to MM01, MM02, I think those Vrinda was joined. You didn't join, so you have to go and read my see my video. All these fields are there in the metal master, so we maintain these values there, and that gets populated here instantly without sif. Yeah, I know I've not sent you those videos, but I'll send it today. Okay, so fixed pegging strategy, I told you timely consumption. Yeah, use earliest reset, first in first out. Hope you guys remember explained all this timely receipts, how timely works, how first in first out works, maximum earliness of a receipt, lateness of a receipt. We spoke. This is the tolerance and 11 percentage. And this only for, I told you, length based planning only. For hours, it's not a valid field. Over delivery, under delivery, use total receipt, use total stocks. Okay, if you scroll down here, there are, I told you there are two more functions: resource network planning and tank planning, which I don't cover. They have some settings here. Okay, and alert threshold is important. I'll come to that. Why alert threshold is because I told you that this earliness of a receipt and lateness of a receipt. So today we'll create alert profile after this. Maximum earliness, maximum lateness. So think that there is something which is available. Earliness, I told you 1 day. Nothing within 1 day, the system should pick. Okay, but think that there is something which is available in 20 hours time, which can be used. If there is anything, you can say, show me alert within less than 24 hours if there is anything to be pegged. Yeah, for threshold lateness also. Yeah, it's called earliness and lateness alerts. You can define 24/00/00. So anything which is there less than a day, it will show. In the you have to configure here 24, and in the alert profile you have to say I want to see earliness alerts. Then when we execute the alerts, if there is anything, it will show up there. Okay, so that will in alert profile we can see that. And I also told about available stocks. What is available? Quality inspection, restricted use stock. Restricted use is what? A restricted stock. You have unrestricted stock, a batch stock, or something which is under reservation. So you create reservation for your stocks, right? So if it is under reservation, it will be restricted. Okay, block stock. Stock can transfer between locations. Think that there is a STO. I'm receiving it tomorrow. It's coming from my factory to DC or from another factory to my factory. There is a stock transport order. I want to consider that. Why should I produce when I'm getting something tomorrow, and why I produce it tomorrow or today? So I'll tell the system if there is anything coming, yeah, we need to consider that. And also stock in transfer between sublocations. So in APO terminology, sublocation is nothing but storage location. So if there's anything coming from a storage location, which we call in we say MRP area. Yeah, a storage location can also be an MRP area. So if you're doing planning at a storage location, and if you're receiving anything from a different storage location, that needs to be considered for planning as available, the net requirement calculation that I was talking about. Okay, and we spend a lot of time in this lot size. Like again, if you have a profile, all the values can be populated. See lot for lot. I told you that a lot for lot. Here you have min max. Okay, if you want lot for lot also to consider min max, you have to say lot size always. Fixed lot size, and to define the fixed lot size quantity, and last lot exact. And in periodic, if you use a periodic lot size, see you have daily, weekly, hourly, monthly planning calendar also. Yeah? If you use a planning calendar, you have to assign the planning calendar here. Yeah, so that all these things will do. When plan is to have first we do straightforward planning. We use all the different types of planning procedures, and we do all single level planning, multi-level planning, finite planning, multi-level finite planning. We do all types of planning runs which you do on a daily basis, batch job and all those things. But sometimes planners they don't like the results. They want to do for a certain products, or maybe for their favorite product, they want to do all different types of planning. They want to change fixed lot size, they want to change periodic lot size, everything. So after our planning session, there'll be one session for interactive planning. One full day, it could be 2 to 3 hour session, where today whatever I showed you in Excel, everything will be shown there. And also there's something called product planning table. Yeah, so you all must be knowing that a DS board. DS board is very complex. Yeah, it's a graphical. But if you want to see everything like DS board, where you see resource view, product chart, everything you want to see in one place, this is something called product planning table, where you see order numbers, quantities, everything. It's not graphical. It's a table. So we have to. I'll show you how to set it up. Yeah, that's the first thing you have to do. You need to set up product planning table for users. How to set up DS board? I'll show you tomorrow in the configuration session. Yeah, so that is configuration. What charts you want? Yeah, what you don't want. What is the selections that you need? What is the time that you need? Everything is configuration. That we'll do tomorrow. Don't miss tomorrow. Very important session. Yeah. So all these things we'll see. Safety stock. We spoke about this already. Safety stock. You know what it considers. Safety day supply here. We in interactive planning session, I anyway cover the safety stock. What is that? Virtual safety stock. Yeah. Order series safety stock. We see all the reorder point planning. See here in ECC, it's a MRP type, correct? A VB, all those things which does reorder point planning. Here it's just one radio button, and you define what reorder point planning it has to do and what is the maximum stock level. Okay. It does reorder. This also in our interactive planning. I'll show you. And coming to this, we have min, max, rounding. Yeah, if you have a profile, it will take the value from there. Target day supply, safety day supply. Safety day supply is linked to safety stock, right? Safety stock can be a number or based on the number of days demand. 14 days is my safety days. Whatever demand that you have for next 14 days will be your safety stock. Okay. And target days, what is target days supply? Target day supply is next 10 days. 10 days is my target day supply. Safety days is always lesser than target days. Safety days is what I must have at all times. 3 days of demand, the production of next 3 days demand is something I should always have inventory. Target days is how much I can produce today. Next 10 days of demand I can produce today. Yeah, because my shelf life is only 10 days. Say for example, my shelf life is 13 days. To sell, I need at least 3 days of shelf life. So my target days supply today should be only for next 10 days only. Okay, so PPDS will not plan anything more than 10 days demand. 11th day's demand today it will not plan, because today if it plans, if you produce today for next 11th day demand today, when you hit that 11th day your product is expired or close to expiry. Yeah, so in food industry you see they always use target day supply. Planners will always use this term, my safety days, my target days, and all these things. Okay, so you understood, right? So how safety days and the safety stock planning, I'll show you that anyway. Target days I don't show because this target days we always use in SNP. Yeah, this field is there, it's remained. But PPDS we only worry about safety stock only. Yeah, target days will be always done in SNP. Okay. So total replenishment lead time, I already we spoke about this, not today, but in our Metal Master session, we spoke about where it is used. Replenishment lead time is all normally for replenishment. Yeah, it could be for in-house production or for external procurement. Yeah, it's a total time taken. Yeah, total time taken. Maybe your production time and GR processing time put together is your total replenishment lead time. For external procurement, it could be your um, plan delivery time and your GR processing time is your replenishment lead time. Okay, so I also spoke about uh, planning procedures. I didn't explain this because you'll forget. This is a little bit tricky. So in our PPDS planning session, we will discuss about these three. and we'll also see the output of all this. And this is configuration 1, 2. If you go to APO, you'll see 1, 2, 3, and 4. Here the 3 is not there. So hence the 3 is very, very important, where you do simultaneous material and capacity planning based on your sales orders. So you need some integration with GATP. Okay, hence in S4 HANA, because the GATP is not there yet, you don't see that 3 at all. So I'll show you in APO system, but that is sales order based planning. Okay, and tomorrow in our configuration session, this 1, 2, and 4 is something that you can configure the way you want it. Okay, so tomorrow we'll see in that session. Product heuristic, yeah, is nothing but a planning heuristic which can be used only for this product. Not only, it can be used for other products also, but that becomes relevant if you want to run planning for a product. Okay, so you use a product heuristic, and that there's uh, a tab which you click, and the planning runs in the background, and that tab is called product heuristic. So that that tab, when you click that product heuristic, it comes and looks at this field here, whichever heuristic that you have used. Um, uh, it'll give you the output. In the beginning, in the demo session, someone asked me about product interchangeability. Yeah, and I think that person didn't join at all, and I added in my syllabus. So there I'll show you. This is used in product interchangeability. Planning package. What is planning package? You have a interchangeability. You have a main product. You have a follow-up product, right? Whenever the demand comes for your main product, planning will happen for an alternate material or an interchangeable material or a follow-up material. There are many names, and those two becomes a package by default. You don't go and maintain anything. Okay, the it determines the planning package from the interchangeability group that we create. That that comes and gets populated here automatically. So we don't have to do anything. Okay, and I've told in all the batches, I have no idea about this. I've never seen, and there is no output. There is no help for this. Why they use it, I have no idea. And rest of the things I've simulated. These are all just grouping the products. All this, okay, which is your production unit. Yeah, only for reporting purposes. What is your planning group? Planning group is a group of products. Yeah, a group of products which are assigned to a planner. Okay, you can call him a production planner, and you can also give it a name. Call it a production planner. Could be part of multiple planning groups. So in this case, you have two objects. One is production planner, and he is part of three different groups. So now you want to run PPDS planning at a planner level or at a planning group level. Both can be executed. If you go here, see, you have planner also. See, production planner. You can run planning at a planner level, or you can run planning at a planning group level also. Okay. And plan explosion in APO, you'll see PPM, whether you want to explode PPM or you want to explode PDS, everything is there. Here we have default value or from PDS. Okay, you know IPP, right? Integrated process planning. Some they in defense sector and all they use. Uh, I've actually not worked on this, but for us it's PDS. Or if you don't maintain anything here, it looks at the customization SPRO. Tomorrow I'll show you global parameters. There you can define. Always use PDS only. In S4 HANA, this will not be a problem at all, because in APO we had a PPM and PDS, so we had to tell, yeah, whether it's PPM or PDS or whatever. Here I recommend that you use global parameters for this one. Product priority you can give, yeah. And I think you all remember I was saying that 5 products are produced on the same day based on what sequence. I told you can use block planning, you set up matrix, yes, changeover times and all. If you don't have anything, you can say in the scheduling board, go and plan based on the prior product priority. Yeah, so 5 products on a machine, and it'll go and read here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Based on that, it'll sequence. Yeah, when you do scheduling, planning, everything. Yeah. So this is nothing but when the bomb should be exploded. Yeah. When the component requirement date. This is a little bit complex to understand this, but this is very much common sense. Yeah. When the the bomb explosion date, right? Bomb explosion date is nothing but I have a finished goods. Today I'm running planning. Bomb is could be a component which has a long lead time, say for example 3 weeks. Okay. Today I'm exploding the bomb and it picks the component from the production version. But in 2 weeks, the production version is changing, right? The production version is changing where this component may not be there at all, or lot size would have changed, or there could be any other change in the production version. But today I'm planning, but actual production happens after 3 weeks. My production version validity ends next week. So it's wise to give the bomb explosion date as same as the production date, something like that. So there are many combinations. You just go and read. Yeah, see here. Use component requirement date as bomb explosion date. Yeah, component requirement is when you need the component on the day you explode the bomb, or use bomb exploitation for order to for final product. Whenever you're producing the final product, that should be the day, the start of the production of the final product should be the bomb explosion date, which makes a lot of sense to me to have. Yeah, but these things are given. Go and see in your system or other systems that you have seen till now. Even myself, never seen anyone using this because nobody understands all this. Yeah, so you should know as a solution architect, you must know that it is possible. Yeah, so you have to be very thorough in master data to become a very good a solution architect. Yeah, in the shift sequences we saw there's so many things that you can manipulate. Yeah, in product master there are many values that you can use to manipulate or derive a solution. Yeah, so yeah, these fields are very important for planning and scheduling. Opening period, I think you all know about floats in production. You have opening period, you have a float before production, float after production, and all. So those floats will not work in PPDS. Yeah, because floats are only for execution, whereas process orders are created in APO or in S4 PPDS. Yeah, so before creating that process order, you'll have planned order. So the opening period is the time taken to convert planned order to production order. Maybe I need 2 days time to until then it'll stay as. Why do we need it? I have in one of the sessions we have order conversion session where I'll show you how to convert a planned order to production order, purchase requisitions to purchase order, all those things. There you'll see. I'll change the opening period. I'll give it define an offset, and we see how to convert. So you all know that when you convert a planned order to production order, you system will go and check whether the components are there or not to produce. We call it missing parts list. Correct. Now I'm converting all the planned orders to production orders for next week's production. Today, say on Tuesday, I convert planned order to production. Every time I convert planned order to production order, think that I'm converting say 100 different finished goods. And I know by next week, because I'm starting production on Monday, and I'm 100% sure that by Sunday, all the components will be ready. But today it's not there. I still have 5 days, right? So planners will ask you, I don't want to see that pop up missing parts list at all. So here there are some settings. This is at a product level. So you say no check. Yeah, this is at a product level. But in the global parameters tomorrow in the config, I'll show you. I think it's best to put it there so that you don't have to maintain that for each and every. PPDS planning time fins, you know. I don't have to explain again, but you'll anyway we will see it. We also spoke about adjustment horizon, requirement ascertain horizon. Requirement ascertain, I told you can use that output and go to your customer and ask. You don't go, production planners will not go. So customer service who will go to the customer and ask for. So, yeah, pretty much for PPDS we use this. This just comes from ECC. Whether it should create a planned order or a procure or a purchase requisition. We have other thing is, see, the production storage cost, safety stock penalty and all we never use for PPDS. Yeah, this is an open question. We use this because I'm from optimization background. SNP, I'm good in deployment optimization or SNP optimization. I use these fields there. But PPDS we don't use this because all the safety stock penalty and all PPDS optimization will not consider. Why it's there, I don't know. This is only used in SNP. In my SNP session, I think some of you learned SNP from me. You will see I have used all these fields for SNP optimization. Yeah, but PPDS, I don't know why it is there. Okay. GR time. Okay. This also used in SNP, handling capacity consumption, not in PPDS. So hence, maybe they just, how they've copied a lot of programs from APU and they've just inherited that in S4. So for that reason it is here. I don't know. I've not got any answer. I've actually approached few people, but no one knows about it. Why we really, what is the purpose of having these fields in PPDS? Which functionality supports this? No idea yet. Okay, and I was talking about this field in my those who learn PPDS from me. You know that I had a session on PPDS planning board colors. Right, you saw me that I created colors here at a, this is at a location level, and if you want a color for a product, say for example I want F-FG1 in plant 0003, it should be in yellow color, and in another plant it should be red, in another plant the same product should be brown. So then we configure all those here. But if you want this product to be one color in all locations, we all normally go to properties tab. Yeah, so properties tab, and there was a, we had a field here where we can create fields at a global level and at a product at a location level. But now even I need to think how to achieve that, because that is not there. I've read S4HANA notes. They've specifically told that in S4HANA creating fields in extra tab is not supported. Maybe we have to enhance a field and define the colors. All right, so any questions on product master, guys?
So can you see the properties 2 tab to see if there is a PPDS planning board object? I think that denotes the color. I don't know whether I saw it.
Properties 2, no. The
Properties 2.
PPDS properties 2 has all
Oh,
this
sorry.
AP and that unit
Or
of
maybe
the,
one.
yeah.
Maybe one,
See
and in the
here we had,
bottom.
I was telling you, right? Yeah, this is where we were doing before. Now that it's gone, why it comes there is what I was configuring. In my session, I was configuring both
Okay.
at a global level and at a location level. Now those fields are
Yes.
disappeared. Hence, I explored, and if you go to help, it says that S4HANA doesn't support creating extra fields because now it is dependent on Metal Master. Before it was not, right? So
Yes.
hence, okay. So we can actually go to before we create. What is the time? Hey, can we take just 5 minutes break? Yeah, just let's take 5 minutes break. It's India. It's what's the time now? It's 8:30, right?
Yes, 8:30.
So we'll be back in 5 minutes sharp. Mute. Okay, let's start. What are we learning? PDS. Yeah, so the transaction code of PDS, let me have it here also. Okay, where it is, what logistics, advanced planning, master data. Under master data, it's PDS. Under PDS, it's Karta underscore sim. Okay, you go to this one first. F-FG1. Okay, see, most of the things are not editable. See, if you look at this one, continuous output, yeah, offset end-to-end relationship. Before it was not there. I think those who know PPDS, this was not changeable before. Yeah, see, you can have start relationship, you can have uh, end-to-end relationship, but this was not available before. Yeah, this at the product level you can change. Yeah, and this is the operation. See, if you look at this one, um, here all this information are coming from production version. Source of supply, our production is what we have named it like this. F-FG1 is the material, 0003 is the plant, as FFG is the name of the production version. So all this information is coming from the production version. So explosion, when you want this to be exploded, also can be defined. A date can be given, which was not there before. Okay, and if you click on this one, you'll get all the details of the operation. We have only one operation, correct? We have two activities. One is setup activity, one is production activity. If you click on either, and we also spoke about um, uh, that is here. It'll show you where this is getting produced. Yeah, scroll down. Where this is getting produced. That is the machine name. Whether it's a duration is fixed or um, variable. We also spoke, right? We saw fixed is because of the setup time, which is not variable. Variable is based on your base quantity, keeps changing the time. Um, and change number, any changes that you have in the BOM, engineering change management is supported in PDS, so that number will come. This is for variant configuration, object dependency. Okay, and then sorry guys. There's a reason why I'm showing you change mode directly, because before we never had this transaction. Those who know APO, you know that PDS was not editable. But even now, not every field is editable. If you have to, there are only few fields which can be editable, but not everything. For most of the things, you have to go to um, either routing or BOM, and you cannot go and change components here. Yeah, so to that level, it is not allowed. So here we are talking. So object dependency, change number, this is the duration from the routing, and this is short break. Yeah, I'm telling you, go and check with anybody. Nobody knows about this value. Very helpful. Whenever we have, say for example, a setup time which spans across days. I'll give an example. Think that there is a 15 minutes of setup time, okay, in any operation. But based on the schedule, your predecessor operation finishes at say for example 4:50 in the evening, and 5 o'clock is when you finish for the day. So you have 10 minutes time. Okay. um, 10 minutes is okay. Sometimes you may finish an order at 4:57, so you have 3 minutes, and that is a Friday. Saturday, Sunday you're not working. Monday you're coming in starting a new shift. But in the system, because there is 3 minutes time left, the setup activity starts at 4:57, okay, and goes till Monday 8 o'clock. 10 minutes is setup time, so it will be 8:07 your setup activity finishes. 7 minutes on Monday, 3 minutes on Friday. Planners don't want this. Planner will say anything like this. I want the next order to start, next order or next or whatever should start on Monday only. Yeah. So you should tell, okay, what is your short break minimum? Short, if you define 15 minutes here, any break, yeah, which is, think that I'm talking about 48 hours here, right? So anything above 15 minutes, it will go and look for the next available capacity only. It will not plan there. So I'm saying 15 minutes is the break duration. If my setup time or anything which is less than 15 minutes, it will not plan there. It will go to. So this one, why I'm saying nobody knows is because even I didn't know. So there was a requirement like this, and we were always convincing the clients. He said that's how it is. But one client was very aggressive. He said this is not what I want at all. So you go and do enhancement? No, very difficult. So we had to actually approach SAP. SAP did not come back, and after, well, so we had to actually go to someone who actually built the PDS program itself. Yeah, so then we came to know, okay, there is a field in PDS which can be used for this functionality. Yeah, and now in S4 they have given this field in open in the PDS. Okay, and also this one, this is time dependent, right? There's one more field I wanted to show you that is for block planning. Let me find that. This is overlap allowed or not. This is mode. Okay, so we have a session on this mode classification. So where we'll have multiple modes, and I define which is my A priority, B priority, C priority. Manually we can do this. Before, okay, before I go that, I'll show you one more thing. Here, this is what I was trying to say. In the activities, so in the block planning, yeah. So these two I wanted to show you. Yeah. So valuation is a valuation class, and block planning class. Valuation is nothing but your value, characteristic value combination. So that will be shown here. This will be applicable only in block planning. Yeah. So that is what I've still not explored. Hence, I was showing everybody in PPM. Now I'm planning. I told you I'm talking to a basis guy to make sure that we, some of the BAPIs are. Sriram is anyway BAP. So we are activating some BAPIs, and we're trying to make this work. Okay, so we'll see in our block planning session. Um, and you see some fields open here, and there is a transaction called /n PDS underscore maintenance maint. Yeah, see FG1 000. So this is the transaction we were using even for some fields which was shown like short break, relationship modes. For all this we use. So see, this has not changed. One is for SMP, one is for PPDS. Okay. So S is for SMP, P is for PPDS. So if you click on this one, so you have FG, all the cost component. So the FG is made up of SFG. See this. There were some more fields before, and that they've already given it in this one. So this is consumption. When you actually want to consume, yeah, when you want to actually see, this is I is input, O is output. Okay, so input you are sending semi-finished goods as input, and this will be the output of that production. Okay, but when you want to consume, start of the activity and consumption at activity end, consumption at activity start, continuous consumption. We were talking, right, in the lots I was telling you, continuous input output. As it comes, as semi-finished goods is getting produced, you keep consuming it continuously for finished goods production. So all these things you can give it here. Okay, and if you go to operation data, see, I told you that 9 short break before we were actually doing here. Yeah, not there. Now it's open in PDS, but in standard APO system, it's not open. You have to do it here. And mode priority, I showed you there A, but here it is. Yeah, so you can make it B. Here, there also you can make now. You don't have to actually make anything. Okay, all these are used in optimization, bucket consumption, and all those things. Okay, so this is mode linkage. So we have a, don't worry, we have a session on mode priority, mode linkage, everything we'll talk about all this. So why I'm bringing you to this transaction is because PDS underscore maintenance is the transaction, was the transaction that we were using before to do any changes in PDS. Now that in S4, most of these fields are directly open in PDS. We can change there only. We don't have to do. In case you do any changes, see the save indicator itself is not there. So you saw that, right? You can't even save PDS underscore main because you can do everything in the um, PDS directly. So that is the difference. In APO, you do it in PDS underscore main transaction. In S4, you do directly in the PDS transaction. Okay. So this is master data. So we'll come back, we'll come back for other master data going forward. Okay. Now we only saw location, we've seen product, we've seen resource, we've seen calendar, transportation lane for, we want it for subcontracting. This also we want for subcontracting. And this we saw, this is for tank planning. This is only consistency check, and we have a session on product and location interchangeability. And we also see all this group setup matrix, planning version management we already saw. Okay, under monitoring, we have to create an alert profile before we start configuration tomorrow. Yeah, so let's create one alert profile for us in our DS planning board session. We will execute some planning or scheduling and see whether we are getting any alerts and why we are getting, and how do we actually uh, use that alert to make use of getting rid of that alert. What are the ways? Alerts can be given, 100 different alerts are there, but how do we actually take care of it? There is an alert saying that your resource is overloaded, but how do I navigate from that alert maybe to the DS board or to the product link table and take action so that that alert is taken care of? Or else there is no point in creating alerts, right, if you don't take action. And keep in mind, alert profile should be at a minimal number. Alert profile will kill your system performance because you all know there are two types of alerts. One is database alerts, other one is dynamic alerts. Database alerts we use in DP SNP. SNP we can also use dynamic alerts, but majority of the times we use database alerts. Database alerts are stored. You generate an alert macro, you call, you see the alerts. You run an alert macro from the database, you see and you take action. Dynamic is for every action that you take in PPDS, in the background there will be an alert getting created. Now your resource is fine. There is only one order for the whole day. there is no alert. The moment you create 5 orders on the same day, immediately it will show you an alert. So for that particular action, there could be 5 different alerts, and there could be another 10 products linked to that resource. In the background, there'll be around 15 to 20 activities taking place while you're rescheduling the order. And there are 10 different planners doing similar things. Put together, just think of the impact whole day your system will have, generating alerts in the background. Hence, alerts should be very, very less meaningful alerts with a meaningful thresholds. Yeah, keep this in mind. Just because there is alert, don't go and create alerts for everything your planner asks. Only critical things. I am telling you, you need to take approvals before you create a before your alert profile is required. But within that profile, you have many types of alerts, right? So you need to take approvals for every type of alert and also the thresholds. Okay, before you actually decide. So I go to alert profile and we'll create one alert profile. There are two types. Huh? One is application. Application is PPDS. Overall profile is where we link our application. Okay. So profile ID is F alerts. Yeah. Application. So before we had a lot of things. We had GATP, we have DP, we have SNP, but now there is only two. Yeah. So the moment you create, yeah, it will be already under this one because you've not saved it yet. Yeah. So F alerts are there. Okay. Save it. And then here all the alert types. What are the alert types? If you click on this one, this light will be on. But the problem is everything gets checked. So you have to be very careful. So you should never check the alert at the header level. Okay, in the requirement receipt and requirement and receipt alert. Okay, product too late, fixed pegging, product too late, dynamic pegging. Okay, what is too late? When do you get this situation? Too late is I'm starting my production at 10 o'clock in the morning. My semi-finished goods is ending at 12 o'clock. Okay, so there is a delay, right? So I want to see an alert. I have information only. If it is only 1 hour, yeah, I need to know. But if it is greater than 2 hours, warning. Greater than 3 hours, there should be error message. So we always go and take action only on those errors. Warning is okay, or some places they take action for a warning also. It all depends what kind of threshold you give. See, when you check this one, the light is anyway on. So as long as the light is on, it means that there is some alert within this which is used. Okay, and take order in past alerts. Very important, right? So receipt due date time in the past, important, because due date is in the past. You need to go and see delay in days. Why it is delay? Okay, today I go and see what are all the orders that were supposed to be finished yesterday. Has it finished or not? If it is not finished today, I have to start that. Correct? But I need to know. So here the delay in days greater than 1 day, 2 days. So this is what I mean. Warning message. If it is greater than 1 day, everything greater than 1 day, yeah, it'll show. And order alerts, not so useful. Surplus, yeah. So order creates surplus. So we have a session where we'll see all this, how we can avoid surplus and all. But if you still have surplus, and if you want to see surplus is very dangerous, correct? Shortage is fine because shortage is there, PPDS will cover that. But surplus is there, you'll have to take care. So variance in percentage. So surplus more than 10%. I need to see. Yeah. And then I want resource alerts, PPDS resource alerts. See here the problem is you cannot give a threshold. If it's overloaded, it will give an alert. But if you want to define thresholds, there is See, average resource utilization, load in percentage. Yeah, overload, underutilization, both are there. Underutilization also you can give. Yeah. But underutilization, see why it's underutilized, because there is no orders. So it's not that critical. But if it is overloaded, you've planned too many orders on the resource, which is very dangerous. So overload in percentage greater than say 10%, I need an alert. See, here you can see delay in days, load in percentage, greater than, less than, you'll see everything. Greater than 20%, I need a warning message. This is bucket capacity. So we don't use that anyway. Planning anything else which is important. So let's keep it to minimum. I think we will come to know most of the alerts, so overload alerts, order in the past, or surplus alerts, everything we have anyway. Yeah, save this. Okay, and now we should give. This is for project systems and network alerts, not for our PPDS. You need to tell for which you need to give a selection of products, right? So I say product number for which product. So I'll say F hyphen star. Okay, so that F hyphen FG1, F hyphen SFG1, everything will be considered. Yeah. Middle group, we don't have anything. Location, we'll say 0003. Yeah, and also you can select based on production plan if you want. Okay, you can save as. Okay, now this is for products. We also have alerts for resource, correct? And one more thing, here you can also define ATP categories. Yeah, products, say you have order alerts, right? So which orders? Okay, which orders you want alert? Only for planned orders, only for production orders, only for sales orders. So for that, instead of, if you don't define anything, for this selection, all type of orders, you'll get alerts. But for orders, only certain type of orders only, you can control by ATP category. Okay. And then, see, you have shortage alerts and all, but for load, resource overload, you can go to resources. And in PPDS, we had everything here only. So there we have a location separately now. So we can go by resource name or resource category, categories, machine handling unit, or planner, anything. So resource name, we say W, FWC star. WFWC1. Should open up. So just a name. And in which plant? I'm really surprised why they have given plant here. I told you that my resource itself has a plant. So okay, save this, and then go to this one here. I'm creating an overall profile. Okay. So this is always at a version level. So ours is 00 version. So whether you want alerts to be for next how many days. Okay, if you have a period saying that go and give me alerts from 1st of February till 31st of December, it becomes absolute time interval. Yeah, if it is relative, I would say 1 month, or you can give it in days. Next 14 days is what I use always. Okay, and then there are two types of alerts: PPDS and warehouse management. Which is that alert profile that you're linking here? The one that we created. You need to link F alerts, the one we just created now. Okay, so we created our alert profile. We defined all the alert types. We maintained the parameters, selection parameters, and then we are saying that it should be for planning version 000. For the next 14 days, I want alerts, and in that, I'm assigning the alert that I created. Okay. Now, this needs to be linked to user settings. So this is myself, whoever logs in for this user, the one that I just created. After saving, it comes here. Let me save this. Okay, and then there is something called favorite management. See here. Here, if you go, it will again take you. I showed you, right? It will take you there. Select this. Select this one here. So you can add that to your favorites. Yeah. The moment I go and click this, it runs alerts in the background. Now we don't have demand. Now we don't have any orders. We don't see anything. Once we finish our planning, then when we come here, you check this one, right? If there are any errors, warning, or information, everything will be shown. Which material, which location, which resource, every information. Okay. So we have created an alert. So tomorrow, we need to assign our alert profile to the configuration object. Hence, I created the alert profile. So tomorrow, what we'll do is we'll create configurations for our planning only. See, we have configurations for a separate configuration for optimization, separate configurations for different, the block planning. We have separate subcontracting. For every function, we have separate configuration. But what we'll do tomorrow is configuration only for our basic planning and scheduling. What do we need? Our own objects, not SAP standard. Yeah, all those things will create tomorrow. Yeah, so that will be everything. Maybe some standard heuristics will copy advanced planning. Yeah, so some of these will create tomorrow, and once if configuration is ready, then next Saturday we can start doing our planning, uh, all different types of planning, and then Sunday it will be interactive. Any questions, guys? No questions? Tomorrow, in the configuration, if I don't think we can finish in 2 hours, or we may finish in 2 hours. We may, it all depends based on your questions. In case if we try to, if in case if we are able to finish before 2 hours, I'll use that time to show you how to build or create a planning table. Yeah, very important. So that we can visualize the planning results in 3 places. One is the planning logs. We can go and see what it has done. The other place to see is DS board. The third place is to see planning table. Okay, so I'll see if we can do it tomorrow, so that we can start fresh on next Saturday directly on planning. And also in the meanwhile, next during the week I'll set up all the master data required for automatic uh, simultaneous material and capacity planning um, based on sales orders. So I'll set up all the master data configuration. I'll set up the master data and SIF it, and in the planning session, I'll take you through all the configuration requirements. I will create sales orders in ECC, and we'll see in the background how it plans and schedules all levels, multi-level, simultaneous material and capacity planning based on sales orders. Very complex. I think some of you, Nirmal and all, have seen that in GATP sessions, but
So you
yeah,
do on
we'll
weekdays. Once you are done, you'll show us what you did, right? For 5-10 minutes.
no, I don't have to show you. I'll only create BOM, material, work center. I
Okay.
don't have to show you. I'll show you if we have to do sales order based planning, what are all the configurations required. That's all. And I create sales orders and show the output. We put some, sales orders as a demand. We'll see how planned orders are created, how it is scheduled, multi-level. Okay.
Sanjeev, just one quick question. When you created that work center, there is also this capacity creation. So where we did that?
Capacity creation.
If you go to that, where you have the work center below the production.
Below what?
In that production tab, in the main menu.
Capacity head.
In the main menu.
Yeah. So if you expand the production.
Production. Oh, okay. You want to know where I created the easy master data.
Yeah.
Master data work center.
Work center. So there is also this capacity below the work center.
Mm-hmm.
So where that is required, this one.
This is to create a capacity category. Yeah. If you want to create a pooled capacity,
Okay, sure.
hang on. No. We don't need this because we have already capacity within the work center. Let's check. Same thing here. See, what we do is we already have this tab coming within the work center. If you have created individual capacities like this, we can call that directly in the work center. You got it right. See this screen, I'll show in my work center. FWC1. It directly took me to this one. Okay. So where we went and maintained all the values. But if you have created already something, a capacity category 001, whatever there, and assigned, we can actually call it here. Yeah, we can actually call that here. We don't have to, for every work center, you don't have to maintain. So that's all. We don't actually, if you have created a work center one-time activity, you don't need this at all.
Okay. So basically you can just define one time and use that in the work center.
Yeah, you can use that. Because it only creates capacity. Whereas in our work center, it's a separate header tab where we go and maintain all the values.
Okay.
Is that a capacity variant? I think.
No.
Different
Capacity
variants.
variant. No.
That's different.
No, not capacity. So that's different. That we saw last week, right? We have a capacity variant
Yes.
standard
Yeah,
available.
shift standards.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is not capacity. Okay. Anyway, we'll continue tomorrow and see the configuration, dependent configuration for planning and scheduling.
Sanjeev, do you have any documentation?
Or
Any like?
I only have SCM 250.
Oh, that's it. We have it.
Yeah, SCM 250 I have. I think somebody told that I forgot the name, that they have S4 HANA material PPDS. Yeah, I request if you can share it with everyone, would be helpful for everybody. Okay, I think Sriram may have. Just check with Sriram. Okay, guys, thanks then. Tomorrow we'll catch up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.